Hello. So in this video I'm going to discuss hospital bag, but I had tried to record it previously and it ended up being too long, primarily because my hospital bag is quite involved. So I've decided to do it in two parts. First part is this, which is the baby's bag, plus some food and snacks that you might need to take for either if you're in there for a while, if you're being inducted, or for post-labour and recovery as well, depending on what happens. You're better to be over-prepared, especially when it comes to snacks. So, and then in part two, which will be a separate video, I'll discuss what I included in my hospital bag as well. So we'll just get started. First critical item, actually, before I go on to anything else, that you will need for bringing a baby home is car seat, okay? So if you're planning to bring your baby home in a car, in a taxi, anything broom broom, you need a car seat legally, right? Getting in a taxi, they will still require you to use a car seat. If I can give you one piece of advice, it would be to practice this beforehand. So you don't want to have to be dealing with trying to figure out how to attach the car seat into the car, ensure it's secure and safe for bringing your baby home for the first time, standing in a hospital car park. So I'd encourage your husband, your partner, your birth partner, whether that be your mum, your friend, whoever's going to be in charge of doing that, to practice. So get it in, practice getting the seat in and out, make sure that they are well versed in how it works, basically. All right, so that's item number one. Item number two, what do we think of when we think of babies? One of the things I think of is shit. Poo. Joyous bodily functions. So, nappies. I've taken 10. You get different sizes. They actually give you generally directions on like weight as well. So if you have any idea of the weight of your baby, if you've been for growth scans, etc., if you want to play it safe, you can go with two sizes. The hospital will generally have some anyway if there's any issues, so don't worry too much. I've got these from Aldi because I've been recommended them of quite a few people that I know who've recently had babies. Really good quality and fairly cheap, so they recommend. They do say use disposable nappies in the first few days, even if you're planning to go on to... use disposable, not reusable. So even if you're planning to go on to reusable, and by the way, there's a voucher in the Scottish Baby box, just in case you fancy trialling it. For reusable, even if you plan on going on to it after, they recommend using disposables in the first few days. You will also need cotton pads, primarily. I've got a few water wipes in there, although they do say you shouldn't really use any products on your baby, specifically in the first 7 days. So especially with the type of poo that they have in the beginning, it's called meconium. It's quite handy to have cotton pads and then just actually use like warm water. Because it helps to break it down a little bit. So just cotton pads, warm water with your nappies, and that's all you really need for that side of things. So we'll go on to the clothes and the coverings and all the layers that babies need. So firstly, I've got a few different types of blankets. I've got 3 specifically, right? So I've got a thick one at the bottom there, nice woolen one, knitted obviously by a grand's friend, because you've always got to have a grand's friend that's going to knit you stuff when you have a baby. If you don't, I'll be surprised. Have a go at knitting yourself. So I've got that. I'll probably put that on top of him in the car seat to travel home. I've then got a few different types of ones. So cellular blanket, if you've looked into having a baby and what you need, you've probably heard of these. Quite thin, but it can be folded over multiple times. This is the one from the Scottish Baby box. And I've also got a thin woolen blanket as well, just as a backup, but also handy to have. So, different types of blanket. Just going to put this into the bag also. So, we got on to clothes. I have Ziploc bagged and labelled mine. Reason being, it's going to be a lot easier if for any reason Jonathan needs to dress him or like find anything. And I've been the one that packed the bag, so it's literally, they've all got little labels on them for what they are, right? So the first thing is outfits. So I've got 2 sizes of outfits, packed newborn outfit and also a 0 to 3 month. The reason they recommend taking 2 is depending on the weight of your baby and the length of your baby, they might go into 0 to 3 straight away. Within these packs, I have a pair of socks, pair of mitts, hat, vest, baby grow, little like jumper or cardigan, you can see in here, both woolen cardigans, freshly knitted recently, and little trousers. All right, so you've got an outfit for each age, and you've got all the items that we need for dressing a baby in there. Nice and labelled up. Simple. I've also got some spares, so spare vests. You know what babies are like, so bodily fluids might get places, who knows. Always better handy having a couple of spares, and also a couple of spare baby grows as well. So I feel like I'm prepared if anything happens. If you need more, your partner's always going to potentially need to leave the hospital at some point anyway, especially if you're staying in for an extended period of time. So if that is the case, just send them home, you can get more stuff. But this should be enough for majority of situations. I'm also taking some swaddles, how do you say it? It's up to you. I've got 2 different types here. One's a sleeping bag type, another is just another big piece of material. The sleeping bag type's from O Baby Collection, and the big piece of material with the cute little feathers is from Peril and Bear. So it's Petite Piccolo. Both were gifted very kindly, so I can't wait to use them and actually get my baby in them. So taking them because apparently it can be quite useful. You know, the baby is tucked away nice and cute in here, like a wee ball, used to being kind of like swaddled up, so it might bring them comfort if they're struggling to settle. And also the holy grail of items, which I didn't really understand at the beginning, but apparently they're absolutely essential for everything you could possibly need. Cleaning up sick and just wiping your baby and everything generally. So muslins, I've got different types in there. And that is really it for the baby section. Label it all up, especially if you're the one, if it's only one person packing it and the other person maybe hasn't been involved. I just found that really easy and straightforward, and even for myself actually, rather than having to dig through things, especially if you get things with similar patterns that have came in like packs. So that's us. I hope you found that helpful, and I will now get on to the bit I probably was most excited about, even though loads of people say if labour goes quickly you might not even need it, but food. And actually drink as well, because that is critical, because hydrating yourself and actually making sure that you're going to the toilet is critical during labour. So you need to ensure to focus on the things that are essential, which a lot of people say you can forget to do. So let's go on to that. So on to drinks, which are one of the most critical kind of parts of what you will do during labour. You need to stay hydrated. So a lot of the advice I got, make sure you're drinking your water. I love tap water. Obviously, I used to work for Scottish Water. I still work for Scottish Water. I'm on maternity leave. That was bad. But I love sugar-free Volvic. So I'm going to take a few bottles of these. I'm going to mention this in the next video for my hospital bag, but I'm also taking a bottle with a built-in straw because a lot of people recommended that, and also a sports bottle to drink out of, because having the cap and having to tip it, they just say it's something you just don't want to have to hassle with. So you can even decant this. So I'm going to take this, sugar-free. This isn't going to obviously be for energy because it is sugar-free. You can get the sugar one if you want. I'm just using this instead of water. One thing a lot of people said, especially if you're giving birth in summer, if it's really warm, freeze a couple of these and take it, or put it in one of the flasks that have the insulated metal inside so it'll keep it cool, or keep them in the car and send your birth partner out to get them so that they stay really, really cold. When it comes to energy drinks, this was the biggest one that was discussed. So an isotonic sports drink, whether that be Lucozade Sport or like Powerade or something similar. I love Lucozade, right? So I'd initially got Lucozade Original. We're a dying breed, us that like it. So you use with your pink lemonade and orange. Nah. But I was told that some midwives don't like you drinking fizzy drinks in labour because you can get quite sick and the gas actually makes it worse. So the still Lucozade Sport or isotonic drink is recommended instead. Sugar, obviously flat, So I got a flavour I eventually landed on that I like, which is mango and passion. Snacks, I'm going to keep this quite short. I love how, by the way, my little puppy has arrived as I bring out the food. I know your game. I know your game. I'm not going to get too bogged down with snacks, right? You cannot eat in the labour ward. They encourage you not, well, they encourage you, you can't eat in the labour ward in case you need to go for a C-section. So after you've went past and you've went into active labour, etc., they probably will not let you eat. So make sure you fuel up in the early stages of labour. If you feel those contractions coming on, get yourself a carb heavy meal in. Think of it like a marathon. You're wanting a slow release of energy. As we get into the later stages of labour, if you can have anything at all, we're probably going to want things like this, or hard-boiled sweets were another thing that we're encouraged, because it's something you can suck on, hit a sugar when you need it. You need the boost of energy getting close to the end. And also, if you're on like gas and air and stuff, it can actually moisten your mouth as well, which is beneficial. So I'd get a set different crisps. One person did say that you don't want to be doing that in the recovery ward at night time if people are sleeping. So be careful of rustlability of snacks. If it's summer, chocolate isn't really recommended because it will melt. You might be better with different biscuits like this. For me, I mean, who doesn't love a chocolate covered Lotus biscuit? And I love Viennese. See, Fox's Viennese, these are just like... Anyway, I could go down a rabbit hole when it comes to snacks, right? These are for Jonathan, because he loves them. You need to remember for snacks for your husband as well, because they actually don't get fed in hospital. So take an assortment. You're better to be over prepared. Even if it goes quick and you don't need them, that's fine. Bring them home because you will need them after. But I'm also going to potentially pack like some sandwiches as well. So if everything's going well, or even in the early stages, I'll be staying at home for a few hours. So I will probably prep some sandwiches because I'm a savoury gal. But hard-boiled sweets and like Haribo's, sweeties type things is a big one. And just different types of snacks. If you want to take if you think it's going to go on a while, and I'm saying like energy boosts and stuff, so like cereal bars, flapjacks, all those sorts of things that will keep and will not melt. Although I'm going to be optimistic and take some chocolate anyway, because, you know, who knows? Just look it out the bag at the end. And that is us for the food and drink and baby bag video. So I hope you've enjoyed this one. Look out for part 2, which is my hospital bag. And if you have any questions or anything at all, just let me know, or let me know what you think. I'd appreciate it.